Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. Today, we're going to be talking about three altcoins. Okay, three altcoins that I think might have a pretty good summer. Now, for the past few weeks, ever since Bitcoin broke the 20-week moving average, I have been saying that in general, altcoins are going to be a wash. It's a write off for the summer until Bitcoin gets back above its 20-week moving average. Today, we're going to be doing a lot of speculation. There's no guarantee these will pull off, but uh, looking at previous price history, current price action of these certain altcoins, and the nature of these altcoins, these are reasons why these might be some altcoins to look at for the upcoming summer. Okay, and you could say summer's already here. We're in June. Yeah, sure. I think when's the start of summer? Like in sometime in June, I think July. In any case, this is what I'm talking about here. So the first one is going to be Chainlink. This is going to be my main bet for the summer. Um, Now keep in mind that although it's my main bet of the summer, it is not going to be more than Ethereum or Bitcoin. In that sense, I'm aiming for Chainlink to be the third largest holding of my portfolio. Um, Please don't take don't take this video as a reason to go all in on all these three coins or just one of the three, right? Like that's not what I'm trying to, that's not what I'm talking about here. Above all, the most important thing is risk management because we all could be wrong. We can use uh, price history. We can use the nature of all the project we're talking about, and we could see current price action against other cryptocurrencies to help give us an idea of what altcoins might do well, but it's never a guarantee. And with that said, I never want to advocate someone to go all in on a certain altcoin, even if it's Chainlink. Okay, and I really like Chainlink, or at the same time to go all in on Bitcoin because I think that's even going all in on Bitcoin might be fine. You are uh, uh, putting yourself at an exposure of one cryptocurrency, which I think is bad. If anything, diversification is great. Over diversification is bad. So a good handful of good projects is always the way to go. And using weighting systems to help balance your risk as well as your rate of return. So the first altcoin I want to talk about is Chainlink. Now, yes, Chainlink has bled quite significantly from the start of August to the bottom of January. It has dropped 77% against Bitcoin. It has recovered. So now that we're only down 51%. Having said that, the summer might be a good time for Chainlink to shine. Why do I mean that? Well, I can get rid of this RSI real quick and talk about Bitcoin. So the reason why I think Chainlink will has a chance of doing very well over the course of the summer is because Chainlink has been in this situation before when Bitcoin was below the 20-week moving average. Out of the three altcoins that I've talked about, there's only two that has experienced Bitcoin below the 20-week moving average. However, Chainlink has proven that even during the time of it being below the 20-week moving average, it can outpace Bitcoin. So let's take a look here and see exactly roughly when Bitcoin or when where Chainlink was when Bitcoin was below the 20-week moving average. And so with that said, that would be at January 29th, 2018. Uh, Chainlink was at around 5,100 Satoshis. During that time of Bitcoin being below the 20-week moving average, which was around March 25th, 2019, Chainlink was around 11,000 Satoshis, around that point. It was actually a green candle at that time. So you can even bump it up to 12,400 Satoshis. In that span of time, if you bought Chainlink when it broke below the 20-week moving average and sold it when Bitcoin went above the 20-week moving average, Chainlink rallied 139%. We could also look, I believe, at this area here when Bitcoin initially broke below the 20-week moving average to the point where Bitcoin got back above it. Chainlink went above it 72%. So we can see that Chainlink has a history of outpacing Bitcoin while Bitcoin was below the 20-week moving average. There are two instances of this happening. We can look at, very roughly the point of Chainlink at 38,000 satoshis of the coronavirus crash and measure it when Bitcoin went above it, and it still outpaced Bitcoin by 10% roughly. So this is really splitting hairs, but I think the major two indicators would be the span of 2019 and the 2018 bear market. Chainlink rallied against Bitcoin. This is pretty impressive. No, it's hard for me to find an altcoin that has done that consistently. Chainlink is one of the few, and this is the main reason why Chainlink is an altcoin to look at for the summer. It is an altcoin to look at despite Bitcoin being below the 20-week moving average. And with that said, let's move on to the next one. And I'm going to just delete this, get rid of this. The next one we're going to be talking about is Cardano. Now, full disclosure, Cardano is not an altcoin that I hold in my portfolio. It's not because I don't like it, it's because I missed out. Plain and simple. It is an altcoin that I did not buy when it was at 2 cents during the coronavirus crash. I wish I did, but here we are now. I have to live with it. And with Cardano, it's not necessarily talking about when Bitcoin is below the 20-week moving average, but how it is performing now. Cardano has been one of the best performing assets in the top 10 for this duration of the bull cycle. And even despite even despite Bitcoin being below the 20-week moving average, Cardano is holding fairly well. And not just against Bitcoin. I mean, when we look at Bitcoin, look at it. It's doing very well. It's rallied considerably, and even from this dump, it's still holding well. But the more impressive one it would be Ethereum. If the reason why you hold Ethereum is to outpace Bitcoin, and Cardano is outpacing Ethereum, then that is a very, very, very good altcoin to hold. With that said, let's take a look at essentially stacking Bitcoin and Cardano Ethereum and see what we see. So Cardano was already bleeding at this point. Okay. Cardano was already bleeding before the dump of Bitcoin, right? During the span of February to May, it was bleeding. And from that point against Ethereum, mind you. So with that said, uh, up until the dump, Cardano bled from wick to wick about 63%. From the candle body, it's a little less. It's like a 54, about 50% bled against Ethereum while Bitcoin was moving sideways. During this period, Ethereum was shooting up, so this kind of makes sense. But as soon as Bitcoin dropped 20% against the US dollar, while other altcoins bled that considerably, Cardano jumped 42% against Ethereum, and it has held ever since. Held ever since. Now, there is a an argument to be made that Cardano may bleed further, but at this point now, it is holding its valuations extremely well. Against the US dollar, it's above the 20-week moving average. It's at $1.72 when back in March, it was 2 cents. Okay, this is again one of the best performing assets of this cycle thus far. Cardano has done very well against Ethereum alone. And even though Bitcoin is below the 20-week moving average, it has held its valuation against Ethereum very well. And that's when Ethereum has also been recovering very well against Bitcoin. With that said, there are caveats to this asset. We don't know how Cardano will react during a bull market. What do I mean by that? The initial launch of Cardano was at November 2017. That was around here. Bitcoin already put in immense gains from its bottom, and we were coming to the market cycle peak of Bitcoin. Cardano was not exposed fully to an entire cycle. This cycle it has, and thus far it's done very well, but that's not to say that it can't crash. And I'm not saying crash down to zero, but maybe change the makeup of its movements. We don't know fully what will happen um, leading up to this, but thus far it has done very well. But the unknown the unknown is a risk in itself of not knowing how it will react. We have no data to claim it will do good or bad. It has done good thus far. Uh, Also, when Bitcoin is below the 20-week moving average from the last cycle, you can obviously see it doesn't do very well. So that's also another thing to keep in mind of. Um, Against Cardano, against Ethereum, we can, let's stack it again. We can see that when like Bitcoin broke the 20-week moving average, it kind of just holds its valuation, right? It doesn't go up, it doesn't go down. It holds its valuation against Ethereum very well. And it's when leading up to the breakage of the 20-week moving average, we saw a move up. So in any case, with Cardano, and another caveat, I measure Cardano against Ethereum because I like comparing the two because they're similar projects, and I think Cardano is a fairly good hedge against Ethereum. With that said, it's able to hold its valuation very well against Ethereum, despite it being below the 20-week moving average. In a lot of cases, when you look at any other altcoin and you measure it against Ethereum, and while Bitcoin is below the 20-week moving average, it bleeds. It bleeds against Bitcoin and it bleeds against Ethereum. And that's just not a good situation to be in. Cardano, at least for this duration, did quite well. And even in 2019, it was able to hold. And then during the bull market, it moves up. So with that said, it seems that Cardano does fairly well holding its valuation during this time while Bitcoin is below the 20 week. So with that said, if Cardano is able to hold this level at around 6,400 64,000 Gwei, uh, then it's I think that's great. The thing to do in these times while Bitcoin is below the 20-week moving average, I think the main focus is to protect your wealth while still being exposed to cryptocurrencies. If you're able to do that, then that's great. I think if you're able to hold your wealth, manage the risk, and hold your valuations in regards to Ether and Bitcoin, that's a great move. If you're able to outpace those two assets during that period, that's even better. But I think the first step is to maintain the wealth that you have during this period to in lieu of Bitcoin breaking back above the 20-week moving average, and then that's when you're going to start making the money. So that's with Cardano. Cardano has done very well this cycle. It has held up these valuations very well till this point. And even when Bitcoin was below the 20-week moving average last cycle, Cardano was able to hold its valuations very well against Ethereum. Lastly, lastly, this is the third altcoin, and that's Aave. Now, Aave has not really shown, past price history that it's able to hold well. I mean, I haven't even looked at Aave against Ethereum, but okay, yeah. Unfortunately, we only have valuations up until 2020. I mean, we can do this and see how it looks. So, okay. So, let's use the same kind of focus of Cardano. So, against Ethereum, how well did it hold against Ethereum during Bitcoin above well, sorry. Let's look at Aave against Ethereum while Bitcoin was below the 20 moving average. As you can see, it doesn't do very well. With that said, okay, with that said, against Bitcoin, it has done okay so far. Okay, so far. All coins have been doing well so far as well. With that said, this is the coin that I'm arguing that because of the nature of the project, this might do very well, or at least hold its valuations very well. We see altcoins like Celsius token, okay, which could also be in this video as well, doing extremely well against Bitcoin despite what the market is doing at the moment. It has been pushing up to the new local highs. It's even made a new local high, and it's been doing well thus far. Why? My hunch is because it's an interest bearing project. Aave is the same thing, it's a lending protocol. And during times like this, I am sure that a lot of people are moving their coins, like I am, to assets like BlockFi, Aave, Compound, Celsius. And Celsius is probably the most attractive out of all of them. simply because of easy use, and also gaining exposure to its native token, right? BlockFi doesn't have a native token. Aave does, Compound does. And for all of those, when I look at Aave, it seemed that it's holding very well. We know that the 20-week moving average for Aave is a thing to see and hold during this cycle. And even if we go below it, we can quickly turn around and break above and push to new all-time highs. Now, I don't think that Aave might push all-time highs at this point, but if it's able to hold the 20-week moving average, then the valuation will continue to go up. This is, and I can't stress this enough, out of the three, Aave is the most riskiest of the three. It has increased in valuation insanely. Okay, from the bottom to where it is now, it's moved up 42% again, 42,000% against Bitcoin. Okay, this is insane. Having said that, it has proven itself that it's able to hold the 20-week moving average and break to new all-time highs and consistently outpace the market. With that said, we're currently holding the 20-week moving average. We're leaving the 20-week moving average. We'll see how Aave does over the course of Bitcoin being below the 20-week moving average. My anticipation and hope is that it just holds the 20-week moving average. And if an asset is outpacing a 20-week lagging version of itself, then the valuation will continue to go up. Plain and simple. So, in conclusion, Chainlink has proven itself that it can outpace Bitcoin while Bitcoin is below the 20-week moving average, and that's why it's a good asset to hold for the summer. Cardano against Ethereum has held its valuation against Ethereum very well during times of Bitcoin being below the 20-week moving average, and it has been one of the best performing assets thus far this cycle in the top 10. Third, Aave has also done well during this cycle, doesn't necessarily proven itself that it's able to hold its valuations. However, because of the nature of the project, because there's more people in the space, and I'm sure a lot of people are flocking to interest-bearing accounts to hold their valuation somewhat and counteract it with gaining interest and income, Aave might be an asset to look at during the summer while Bitcoin is below the 20-week moving average. And I say the summer because I anticipate Bitcoin being below the 20-week moving average for some time, whether that's a few months, a month. It's going to be either all of the summer or a good chunk of the summer. Bitcoin's below the 20-week moving average. We could talk about that in a later video, but this video is just talking about altcoins, what to look for. In the summer. You want to look at altcoins that have done well while Bitcoin's below the 20-week moving average. You want to look at altcoins that have done well thus far. And it, at the very least, is able to hold its cryptocurrency valuations against Ethereum and Bitcoin. And also projects that, at a speculative nature, may make sense during this period. So, what am I doing now? Well, I'm not going all in on these assets. I am not in Cardano and I'm not in Aave. These ones I've unfortunately couldn't find a entry point. But if you are looking for exposure to certain altcoins, these could be ones to look at. I'm not going to be telling you what the best price is to enter in because we simply don't know how it's going to happen, what's going to happen in the short term. Bitcoin can go to the 20-week moving average and get rejected, in which case, in the short term, altcoins might take a hit. They could not. We don't know. At least with Link, I have a position in. If there's an opportunity for Cardano, maybe when it hits this line or the 20-week moving average goes below the 20-week moving average, that might be a situation to look into. With Aave, we look at, because of its speculative nature, if your risk appetite is palpable, now might be a good time to look at accumulating Aave while it's close to the 20-week moving average. And if you're able to get it below the 20-week moving average, sure. But I can't stress enough how speculative Aave is going to be. I'm only basing this on just intuition on the nature of the market and the project itself. At least with Cardano, it'll hold its valuation against Ethereum very well. It might bleed against the US dollar and Bitcoin, but if it's able to hold its valuation against Ethereum, that's good enough for me. So, with that said, that's all for today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye bye.